episode for you of Planning Hacks for Creatives, and this edition is starting your very first clothing line. How do you get started? So for those of you who had this idea in your mind about, I really want to start a clothing line, but I literally don't know where to start, literally don't know where to start, these are going to be manageable steps, actionables for you to take to get started on your clothing line. But before we dig into it, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of the new videos coming out in this series for the month of August. We're going to be talking about starting your own clothing line today, how to actually get the clothes manufactured, how to start your own fashion show, and where to begin to sell. So we don't want you to miss any of that amazing information. So don't forget to like and subscribe. But without further ado, let's hop into it. So today we are talking about, where do I start for beginning my very first clothing line? The first thing is you want to consider a couple of items, all right? You want to think about your target market. Like, who is that exactly? Are you wanting to do women's wear, men's wear? Are you doing both? Do you have an idea for like a line of hoodies, t-shirts? Are you wanting to do bridal wear? Is it evening, suits, 9 to 5, ready to wear? Like, where do you fall? What are you wanting to design? And who are you wanting to design for? You also want to consider their region. Like, where do they live? Are they down south where it's traditionally warm, like 80% of the year? Are you looking at northerners? Do they live in Europe? Like, where is your target market located? Where do they live? Is it Cali, where it's more of a relaxed vibe? Are you trying to target celebrities, luxury brand? Who is your target market? Who is your audience? After that, you want to think about, what season am I going to start out with? Are you producing for spring, summer, or fall, winter? Are you just doing spring? Are you just doing resort wear? Is this strictly a line of coats for the winter? Like, what season are you trying to design for? Once you have all those things determined, then you can get into the design aspect of it. So first thing you really want to talk about is colors, constructions, trims, inspiration. Like, what do you want this to look like? So as a believer, the first thing I do is pray. That is like my go-to for everything. I figure, as a believer, God created me. He also gave me these gifts, talents, and skills, and he knows what to do with them much more than I do. So why not talk to him about it? So I normally pray, set aside some time before I'll sit in front of like my sketchbook or something like that, or I'll go off walking through the woods. That sounds dangerous, but I go walking through the woods and I just pray, what does this next line need to look like? What do these clothes need to look like? How does this client best need to be served? And then I go from there. After I've prayed, I normally grab my sketchbook, I get all my tools, and we're going to go through that in just a second. And then I start designing, okay? So all through this process, for me, I say prayer is the number one most important factor in all of this, is really getting clear on what I want this collection to look like. And the inspiration tends to come from them. For me, it's happened that I will have dreams about dresses, and then I'll like wake up the next day and start sketching them, or I'll be walking through and or like on a break or something like that, and I'll start sketching a dress, like a napkin or a random receipt or something like that, an envelope that I have laying around, and I just need to get the idea out as much as possible. Or like I'll hear a song and it'll remind me of a time period, and then I'll have like ideas of like modern, updated dresses with influences from the 80s or from the 50s or the 20s, whatever it may be. So just flowing with that inspiration and allowing yourself to be open to be inspired, I think, is a huge thing when it comes to determining what you want that collection to look like. But also consider, are you doing like a specialty niche group, like our niche group, my bad, is it like specifically for petites? Are you just doing plus size? Is it for tall men? Like, what is your collection? Who is your clothing line specifically designed for? And after that, you can kind of work from there. Like, what is the theme of your clothing line going to be? Like, is it going to be heavily influenced by construction technique alone? Are you focusing on a certain type of colors? Is it based off just the fabric? Are you like working with these cool buttons, or is it all about zippers? Like, are you playing with the width of the hems? Like, what is it going to be? Like, what is that factor, or what are those factors that are going to be incorporated into that line? After that, we gather our tools. So let's talk about our tools for a second. I love working with mechanical pencils. I don't see a reason to be sharpening anything, so Mechanical pencils is my number one go-to. After that, I have my lovely quilting ruler. I know some people have clear rulers that they get to sketch with, but I love using this to make sure all my croquis are kind of lined up, and just random things I need with it. I need a ruler, okay? I need a ruler. An 11 by 14 sketchbook. You can get whatever you want, but just get something. It don't have to be this big. I like big sketches. I like big croquis, so that's why it's this big. But if you want to do smaller croquis or you want to do quick sketches, just do it. And don't feel like just because you don't know how to draw that you can't do a clothing line. We will talk about that in another episode, but there are so many people who cannot sketch. Do stick figures. Do something. Just don't let the fact that you can't draw hold you up. Get your ideas out there. You can collect fabric swatches, use different color pencils. You can clip pictures offline and then make cuts wherever you want. Just get the idea out there. If you got to talk to somebody who does know how to draw, maybe you collaborate with them and talk to them about what's in your head, what you're seeing, and how you want to get out on paper, and then just go from there. Make your own corrections. It's okay. Just do it. I have my cork board here. I like to create like a working to-do list that I put all my sketches on and keep them in order, and I like to mix and match them around, but I have to have a place where I can see what I've done for the day. And also it helps to encourage you, especially when you're having a day where you just don't feel like doing anything. It helps to look back and see all the progress that you made. So I keep a cork board with me of all my designs, all my sketches, my to-do list, what I've accomplished for the days, and my goals that are coming up soon. I have a lovely calendar that I like to keep. And on that calendar, I just set goals for myself, design goals. So when am I going to have the sketches done? When do I think I'm going to drape these dresses? For me, I'm doing bridal. So when am I going to drape the dresses? How long is it going to take to drape the dresses? And then after that, when do I plan to make the patterns? When are the final samples going to be done, et cetera, et cetera. But you got to start somewhere. But start with a realistic plan. There are only 30 to 31, unless it's February, days in the month. So plan realistically. Don't put too much on yourself, but you have to set a plan, set a date for it to be completed. Do not skip this part. Also remember that many variations will come with your design process, and it's okay. Maybe you only sketch out certain tops or certain bottoms, or you have this idea for pockets. Just get it all out there, and then once you have, let's say, 100 ideas, then you can reel it in and narrow it down to 50 ideas, to 20 ideas, to 10 really solid good ideas. It's called editing down. Edit down your work, but it's hard to edit when you don't have anything to work with because you haven't started. So just start. It is okay. When you're designing, remember that cohesion is key. It needs to look cohesive. You want to have a clear theme for your collection. Be able to articulate, at the very least, your inspiration and why you use the fabrics and the colors and the patterns and the construction that you did. Like, why does it look the way it looks? Also remember that the design process is not done. You are not done just because you sketched it, just because you added color to it, just because you made the pattern for it. You may get all the way up to the day of the show and want to rip off the sleeves, and that is okay. So don't feel like you have to have this solid, complete work. It's gonna change as it goes along. We are artists. We change our minds like all the time, and it's okay. So just remember, the design process is not done. It's okay. Just work. Get to work. Now, some people might say, do I start with the fabric first and then sketch, or do I sketch and then start with the fabric? Just start, okay? Just start. There are many designers out there who feel like they have to have absolutely the fabrics first because that's exactly what they're going to produce, and they want to sketch from those fabrics. Then you have others like myself who dream up what they want to draw or what they want to design, and then we find the fabrics to go with it. Like, technology has transformed in such a way that you can create the fabrics, you can create the prints, you can paint it, you can manipulate it, you can do whatever you want to make sure that it looks like your actual sketch or your initial design. There are many ways to go about it. Just don't get stuck on which process should I choose first. Pick a process, go with it. If it doesn't work, try something else. There's nothing wrong with setting a plan and changing the plan as you move along, but you've got to actually plan and actually start. Just remember, the hardest part is actually starting. You have to just start. The hardest part is picking up that pencil, looking at that paper, and sketching it out, okay? It's gonna be all right. So next time you can join us, we are gonna talk about bringing your sketches to life. So now that you've got the sketch, now you've got the colors and the fabric, how do you actually make the garment? That's what we're gonna talk about next time. But until then, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I gave a thumbs down. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any new videos coming out in this series. And until then, we will see you next time.